Cerro Gordo was once one of America's most lucrative silver mines. What's left of it is hidden in these mountains, just 200 miles northeast of Los Angeles, at an elevation of 8,500 feet. I've come here at the request of psychic Sierra Kona, who believes something supernatural has ignited a series of disturbing events in the town.
Well, what can I do for you?
So about 15 miles up that mountain is a ghost town called Cerro Gordo. It was known for being part of the Wild West. There were so many murders and there was a ton of paranormal activity in this town. I'm a paranormal investigator and a psychic, and I specialize in being extremely empathic. And that means that I feel everything that the spirits are feeling themselves. Oftentimes, I go into a location and this is my first indicator that there's a spirit that's there with me. I just feel exactly what they're trying to tell me. 6 weeks ago, the American Hotel in Cerro Gordo actually burned down. The cause is still unknown, but there's reason to believe that eventual ghosts started the fire. The new owner is hoping to turn the town into a tourist attraction. So I need your help to uncover exactly what happened to that hotel and see if we can prevent that from happening again.
Well, I can't be of any assistance in the paranormal realm, but I can provide you with facts, figures, I can research, and the history of it is really interesting,
Yeah.
So I'd love to accompany you.
That would be great.
So what's the deal with the town? I know that it was a mining town.
There was so much violence and there was so much death. I mean, it's the Wild West, so there were shootouts. There was a mine collapse and about 30 Chinese workers died there, and presumably their bodies are still there.
I would not be surprised if there is negative residual energy laying around.
The thing I find most interesting about Cerro Gordo is, as a psychic, I tend to work around a lot of situations where there's living people around. But with Cerro Gordo, it's a ghost town. The only energy there is the dead.
Cerro Gordo is really well preserved. It's like being transported back in time. Unlike most ghost towns, this one is privately owned.
Welcome to Cerro Gordo.
It's quite the trek up here.
We're pretty much in the center of town right now. And so this is where the American Hotel used to be. Right next to it was William Crapo's house. We used to have 500 buildings here, and the majority of them were lost to fire. We have about 20 left, and so we can't lose another building.
The American Hotel was said to be the oldest hotel in California east of the Sierras, before it burned down.
The thought that a piece of American history was for sale was mind-blowing, and so the idea was to create a place where more people would come up and experience it firsthand. So anytime people would come to town, it's where everybody would gather. It was my favorite building, and it was all original too, which was pretty much as it looked when it was built 150 years ago.
It's just such a shame that it burned down.
I was sleeping in the Bellshot house, which is a house right over here. And right before 3 o'clock, I heard what I thought was fireworks. I came outside and all three buildings were pretty much fully engulfed, floor to ceiling flames. If the fire would have caught this house on fire, it would have caught the next house on fire. It could have taken the whole town.
I'm so sorry, Brent. That sounds traumatic.
And it was tough just because you were literally watching in real time your hopes, your dreams, irreplaceable history just go up in flames.
What exact date did it burn down?
June 15th, 2020, which is kind of crazy because it was originally opened June 15th, 1871. So it burned down 149 years to the day, which is just eerie.
Do you plan to rebuild?
Yeah, that's the goal. We'd love to rebuild it as close to original specs as we can. Cerro Gordo isn't Cerro Gordo without the crown jewel.
Can you tell us a little about any of your paranormal experiences here?
3 or 4 months ago, I was going up to watch a sunset over there, and as I was walking past the bunkhouse, I noticed in that front right window there that the curtain opened, somebody looked out, and the curtain closed. And at the time, I was the only one in the town. I put a padlock on the door that only I had the key to. And then the next day I went by, the light in the living room was on again. And I know that I put the switch down and I locked the door. Since then, anytime I go into the bunkhouse, the sense that I shouldn't be there overcomes me. So I don't go into the bunkhouse at night.
Was there any type of paranormal activity that you witnessed on the night of the fire?
And Robert, the caretaker, is giving a tour of the property. As they came out, the guy turned to Robert and asked, "Did you see that?" And Robert looked at him and goes, "Yeah." If you think about that happening a few hours before the fire, it burning down on its anniversary, there's just a lot of unexplained activity that happened around the hotel.
Is Robert here by chance? I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, I'll have him meet you guys down there.
This was the front door with the beautiful 2 benches sitting in the front.
Robert Desmarais has been the caretaker of Cerro Gordo for the last 20 years.
Just the most gorgeous thing. The main focus of the town. Everybody wanted to come and have a picture taken behind the bar.
It's an old building. I would immediately think faulty electrical wiring.
That's a possibility, but the day before the fire, a young man from Alaska came in for the tour, and I'm pointing to the stove. When I saw the apparition shadow go past me, the kid's eyes get big and goes, "Did you see that?" And I go, "Well, it's something that I'm used to seeing."
What other paranormal activity has there been?
Definitely in the Belshaw. One night I was sleeping in a small bedroom and something jumped on my chest, knocked the wind out of me, and the door flew open. Never could figure that one out. Something took the whole lock off the old bunkhouse. Many people, they'd put their stuff in the top drawer of the bureau in there, and in the morning it's on top of the dresser and not in the drawer. And now the boys say there's something in the Gordon.
So prior to coming up here, did you believe in the paranormal? Had you had experiences with ghosts?
No, this is my first real sensing of the ghosts. See, when you're living in the wilderness, you always have the animal noises. But then when things are moved and things disappear and a light comes on by itself.
Well, that's what's compelling to me, because if you are the only one out here for most of the year, you know that you're not the one moving things.
This place had been quiet and peaceful, but now that the new owners wanted to do the bed and breakfast, that might have triggered a situation. I think all the ghosts now are stirred up.
We've come to Cerro Gordo, a California ghost town with reports of regular paranormal activity, to investigate the cause behind some disturbing events. A shadowy apparition was seen in the American Hotel the same day it burned down. Could there be a paranormal connection? Or is there a more scientific explanation for this mystery? Psychic Sierra Kona believes paranormal forces were most likely the cause of the fire. But she wants to find evidence her way, beginning at the Belshaw house, the home of Mortimer Belshaw. He controlled the silver mine in Cerro Gordo, one of the most lucrative in the whole country. He also built the first road into town, then charged a hefty toll for its use. Sierra will attempt to connect with the spirit in the house that some believe is Mortimer Belshaw.
Mr. Belshaw, are you here? Oh, he's here. He's just like, get out. He feels superior, even to me. What did it feel like being one of the people of wealth here, Mr. Belshaw? I deserved it. Of course I had wealth. Getting this help. Sounds like a kid. Help. What children are here? Little girl. Oh. I feel like I can't breathe. Did you suffocate? Mr. Belshaw doesn't want me to know what happened. I don't know what happened to you, but I'm really sorry. Most of the time I go into haunted locations and there's kind of just one story, but with Cerro Gordo, There's so many different storylines going on here. I went to the Belshaw house and felt the presence of Mr. Belshaw. And he wanted just basically nothing to do with me.
He was an unfriendly guy, and he didn't like kids. And he actually was chased out of town.
Okay. I felt that there was a spirit of a little girl there, and he didn't want me to talk to her. And I experienced this sensation of choking or suffocating in there, and I was wondering if you might have any insight as to why that might have been.
Well, there were 2 young kids locked in a trunk, and they died. And there's been quite a few people visiting there or staying overnight that have felt the presence, including myself. Things being moved, little girls singing in the middle of the night.
I definitely think that she's still there.
Now, this spirit shook me up a couple times, and I'm a big believer in that, definitely.
The little girl I connected with was light and playful, but after feeling Mr. Belshaw's dark energy, I definitely think his spirit is capable of causing the fire. I'm interested to see what I find at other paranormal hotspots in town.
While Sierra suspects a vengeful ghost, I believe the cause of the fire could be old wiring, so I have an electrician coming out in a few days. In the meantime, I want to research which natural causes could be behind the numerous ghost sightings. As a certified EMT, I know that high-altitude hypoxia can impair mental function. So I've reached out to Chief Medical Officer Carl Pedroza from the Altadena Mountain Rescue to get his take on the hallucination theory. Now, Cerro Gordo is a very old ghost town that has been associated with paranormal encounters. Carl, at what altitude do people begin to experience altitude sickness or hypoxia?
Anything above 8,000 feet, thinning air, low oxygen, definitely will cause some sort of hallucinations.
Now, Cerro Gordo is at 8,500 elevation, and it does have a pretty wide range of temperature. What is the connection, if any, between altitude sickness or hypoxia and hallucinations?
In a continuous environment like that, fatigue, lack of oxygen, malnutrition, dehydration, it's all going to take a toll. And the brain will start interpreting optical inputs as hallucinations.
There is a theory that mold could be causing some of that, because if you go into the town, some of the original buildings still remain.
Oh yeah, mold is pretty nasty, especially black mold. That's another cause for wrong inputs going to the brain.
Carl, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and for your service to our community.
With everything I've seen and felt so far, I know there are active spirits here in Cerro Gordo. Now we need to determine if one of them has started the fire, and if so, whose spirit was it? No one here has had more interaction with these spirits than Robert. I'm wondering if there are any spirits here that you think might have had cause to want the hotel burned down.
That's a real tough question, because it's their home. Why would they want to burn their home?
What about any spirits with unfinished business?
Well, matter of fact, Billy Crapo, who had the Crapo house next door, he was the town bully. He got into a political argument over who was going to be the next president and injured John Thomas right there on the main street.
Such, underlying sadness.
The Crapo house burned in the fire, too.
William Crapo? John Thomas? Is that you? He's not happy that a place that he spent so much time in is going to be changed. I don't think it's an accident at all. I definitely think the spirit did this on purpose. He's just like, you can't come here anymore. He's so smug about it, too.